distinguished guests, all dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to everyone present here. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the Public Speaking Competition 2021 of the Middle School classes 6 to 8, organized by St. Augustine's Day School, Barakpur. I welcome our distinguished guests for today's occasion, Mr. Nathan Gaspar Chaudhary, Ms. Arpa Ghosh, and Mr. Anshuman Mukhopadhyay. I also welcome our respected President Ma'am, Mrs. Janet Gaspar Chaudhary, and CEO Sir, Mr. Amitabh Chaudhary. I would specially like to welcome the parents and guardians of our beloved students who have joined us to witness today's program. Thank you everyone for giving your precious time. We at St. Augustine's Day School, Barakpur know the importance of communication. Thus, we strive to provide the best of opportunities for our students to hone their communication skills. It is very important to have soft skills today. Therefore, in our school, students are given the platform to nurture their speaking skills in various forms. Public speaking helps students to gain an understanding of life-changing skills, and it will primarily focus on important aspects such as leadership development, improved confidence, and effective communication. Now, let us begin today's program by seeking the blessings of the Almighty. Heavenly Father, as we gathered here, bless us with the strength and determination to always put our faith in you. Bless our young competitors for the day so that they can deliver their best. May they succeed in what we intend to do and achieve. Grant them the wisdom to know what they must do, perseverance and strength to accomplish their task. We pray for this in your holy name. Amen. Now, I would like to welcome our very own Principal Ma'am, Mrs. J. Biswas, to say a few words.
Thank you, Miss. So, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Miss, you are.
Thank you. So, right now, it's good afternoon to one and all present here. And it's my proud privilege to welcome you to this public speaking competition for class 6, 7, and 8. Before I start saying anything, you can see the smile on my face. Any event with the students, it makes me very happy. But today especially, I was happy due to one more reason. Just when the program was about to begin, all of us were logged in, even I was logged in, and all the MCs were also there. I feel one of the judges asked that whether she is audible and whether she is visible and whether the angle is correct. And I was so happy that one of my students answered, two of my students I saw answering the question. There was a boy and there was a girl. Raj Lakshmi was the girl and there was a boy also. And they so smartly, confidently, when the teachers are having inhibition and we are thinking it is a formal program, shall I respond? Who will be responding? And you see the children so smart, so confident that they answered the questions. So thank you, students, for being so confident and without inhibition. The second thing which made me very happy is Raj Lakshmi, because the judges also said that whether she was addressing them, I understood what she was doing. She did not keep the camera off. She was actually practicing. So this also makes me happy. They take everything so seriously. They have been given an event and you see the commitment, the focus of today's children. They are practicing so earnestly. So once again, thank you, children. So now coming back to the program, which is a public speaking competition for 6, 7, and 8. I feel teaching is not only a profession, It is a responsibility. Now, if it is a responsibility, then what we have to see? We have to see that we create successful, happy children for the future. If we as a school, we have to create successful children for the future, as we are promising success for every child, then in that case, I cannot only stick to old practices. I have to get my children ready for future, and also I have to be employment oriented. If they are employed, they will be happy in life. And thus, public speaking is so important in St. Augustine's Day School, Barrackpore. Students, speech anxiety is a common issue, but as I said, I'm very happy to see the confidence in you, what you say today. Like we had a previous event with 4s and 5s. So one of the judges said, content is important, but what is important is how you drive that content. And I'm sure the confidence that I saw in you, you will be doing very well. Remember to practice this language, because in future, if you are in sales, you will require the communication. If you are going to get a promotion, you require the communication to see that your message is across. If you are a leader in your job, you need to communicate to your people to get them together. So I will end up here with only one message of mine: good communication, good leader, good opportunities. So best of luck to all of you with good opportunities. Thank you. Thank you, Shreya. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. With that, now I would like to welcome Mr. Arju Roy, sir, mentor, who along with our teachers has trained our students to master their communication skills. He is also the moderator of today's program. Sir, with this, I would request you to take over the proceedings. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. And now, before beginning the event, I would like to acquaint the entire audience with the eminent judges whom we have with us today. Firstly, we have Mr. Nathan Gaspar Chaudhary, the youngest governing body member. He's an alumnus of La Martiniere for boys and is presently with St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. He's been professionally trained in public speaking from Trinity College, London, and has completed an entrepreneurship course from Harvard University. He has conducted several public speaking workshops for students, and very importantly, from class 3 to class 12, he has represented his school in every kind of public speaking event possible, whether it has been dramatics, whether prose, whether poetry, he's won them all. So he's been on the hot seat several times. Welcome, Mr. Gaspar Chaudhary. And now we move on to the second judge. We have Ms. Orpa Ghosh. She is an associate professor and teaches literature in Vivekananda College for Women. She's done her doctoral research on white South African fiction from Jadavpur University and has presented papers in national and international conferences in India and abroad on subjects of her choice. Welcome, ma'am. We are honored to have you with us. And we move on to our third judge. We have Dr. Angshuman Mukhopadhyay, who's the head of the Department of English at Prafullo Chandra College, Kolkata. He's currently the head of the department. He's an assistant professor. He's also associated with Sri Shikshayan College as a guest faculty member in the post-graduation section of the Department of English from 2012. A gold medalist in his master's examination, Dr. Mukhopadhyay completed his PhD in 2019 from the University of Calcutta. His primary area of interest was modern British drama. He has delivered several lectures at other academic institutions as well. Welcome, Dr. Mukhband. And now that I've introduced the judges, I'd like to go through some of the rules and parameters before class 6 begins. Firstly, the parameters, which will be the same for classes 6, 7, and 8. We have 5 parameters which will be marked equally with 10 marks each. Firstly, we have fluency. Secondly, we have pronunciation and accent. Thirdly, we have thirdly, we have content and creativity. Fourthly, we have grammar. And last, but not the least, is poise and confidence, for which cameras need to be on, otherwise the judges can't mark you, can't see you, can't mark you. Okay? And now, before starting the class 6 event, let me tell you the rules. They have been shown a picture 1 hour ago, and they will spin a story around the picture or speak about the picture for a total period of 2 minutes. There will be a warning bell at 1.5 minutes and a final bell at 2 minutes. So over to my co-anchor, Ms. Srishti Gupta, to take you through the names of the class 6 participants.
Thank you, sir. Without wasting further time, let me call you the first participant from 6A, Raj Lakshmi Datta.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to my honorable judges, principal ma'am and teachers and each and all present here. I, Rajalakshmi Datta, is going to say a speech on the given picture. Here, you can see that the car is perhaps inferior. A man is sitting inside the car. Let's call him Goppa. Goppa is carrying bundles of hay to the other city, but he's not carrying them at all. He placed the hay on the roof of the car. He's using a donkey to pull his car. The poor animal is exhausted, but Goppa is just too lazy to care. See, animals have rights too. You can't just make them work all day for your own benefit. Yeah, I mean, it's fine to train them to work, but if the animal is tired or exhausted by carrying heavy labor or goods or long distance traveling, you should not really make them work too much, you know. Not only donkeys, but the use of other animals such as elephants, horses, mules, etc. for heavy labors should be stopped. And I mean it. That's the end. Thank you. Over to you, teachers.
Thank you, Raj Lakshmi. It's wonderful actually to see these young minds creating a story or creating a narrative around a picture. That also within a period of 1 hour. Next participant, please.
Correctly said, sir. Our next participant from 6A is Goiri Ghosh. Over to you, Goiri.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, one and all present here. I am Goiri Ghosh from class 6, section A. I am feeling very elated to be selected as a finalist of the public speaking competition organized by my school. Now, I will begin my speech. The much represented picture presents a civilized society threatened by the scarcity of natural resources, that is fossil fuels. The picture also adds insult to injury in the present situation because our modern civilization, instead of heading forward, is coincidentally retreating to the past. From another perspective, we can analyze that deforestation and depletion of natural resources unwisely would definitely make us endangered in the coming days. The picture also relates to a materialistic society and its negative consequences. We can see that the person who can drive the car himself is not driving it, but instead is dependent on someone else, a donkey, and also symbolizes the dependence on traditional resources in absence of fossil fuels which were depleted due to our injudicious use. But he is totally reluctant and unaware of the crisis that is going around him, which is perilous for a developed society. Therefore, we need to search for sustainable development in this 21st century, which leads development without or less depletion on natural resources rather than be dependent on the traditional resource for biodiversity conservation through coexistence and reciprocal responses between civilized society and nature to strive for depending more on renewable resources. Else, we would be destined to meet the adverse fate which is portrayed in this picture. Thank you. With this, I end my speech.
Thank you, Goirik. That was wonderful. But on the screen at the moment, I can see 90% of the participants busily practicing their speeches. I think you already know it all. Just relax. It's very important to relax. It's very important to smile while you're delivering your speech. Come on, this is the age group of 12 to 14, and we want to see your vivacity, your energy, your enthusiasm. Take it easy. The 2 minutes allotted to you is yours only. Nobody can take it away from you. Next participant, ma'am.
As Sir said, children, please relax. Don't worry. This is a platform which is given to you. Utilize the most and give it your best. And as Goirik stated, your speech was indeed quite sustainable. Moving on to 6B, we have Mandritta Bhattacharya. Over to you, Mandritta.
Thank you, ma'am. There is a famous proverb that is, take care of trees, they will take care of you tomorrow, which is very true. For if we plant a tree, we can save a life. Good afternoon, my respected judges, teachers, and my fellow friends. This is Mandritta Bhattacharya of class 6B, and today I'm going to tell a short speech on this regard. Trees give us oxygen, which is the most important element of our life. It is because of trees that we are able to survive. But as it so happens that we, the human beings, do not understand what is good enough for us. We are going on cutting trees for our personal gain, never caring what our future holds for us. By cutting trees, we are sacrificing the long-term benefits of static trees for short-term gains. Forests make up 31% of our Earth's surface, but the percentage is decreasing day by day on an alarming rate for our actions. It is well known to us that today's world is totally dependent on fossil fuels, which are the result of digging trees and plants. So it should be our primary responsibility to plant trees so that we don't run out of it. But people are doing otherwise. They are going on and on and on cutting trees. Petrol and diesel, which are the most useful fossil fuels in the world, are used to run vehicles and to make different objects for our usage. But due to the scarcity of fossil fuels, we may not be able to run automobiles on it in the future. And we will again be dependent on animals, just like we used to be some 1,000 years ago. Our ancestors took one step towards greatness, and we're supposed to take 2 steps, right? But as it so happens that we aren't. Instead, we have taken 10 steps backwards. That is all from my end. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandritta. I love your accent, actually. The pronunciation was impeccable. And I would request all participants to keep a close watch on your timer. Make sure you don't cross 2 minutes. Okay? Also, all participants should note that anybody who's found reading either from a piece of paper or from a Word document will be penalized. We would like you to use your own language and deliver. Thank you. Over to the next participant, please.
Coming up next is Ayana Pal from 6B. Over to you, Ayana.
Thank you, Miss. Good afternoon, everyone present here. I just can't express my feelings at how I'm happy today being over here speaking about our modern society. Now, what I can see in the picture is only the donkey who is actually carrying the car. I can believe in my eyes. It's quite funny, but in our society, it is not actually funny. It is not funny, it's not a thing to joke, but instead we need to pay great attention to it. Now, before our ancestors used those bullock carts and all those vehicles to travel, and slowly the modern society came, and slowly, all the vehicles were fit with the wheels, and they were now much improved.
Ayana,
I think.
just
Yes, ma'am?
just sorry to interrupt you, Ayana. Could you please turn on your camera? I think you are facing some network problem, dear. Just fix it.
Okay, ma'am.
Ayana, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
We can't see
We
you.
can't see you.
And it's absolutely imperative that the judges see you.
Okay, Ayana, we'll do one thing. I think you are having some network problem. Okay, just try to fix it up. We'll go on to the next participant, and then I'm going to call you after some time. Okay, try to fix the problem. Moving on with 6C, we have Archisha Adhikari. Archisha, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready.
Over
Thank
to
you,
you.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Self-petrol, it is absolutely very precious. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Adrija Bhattacharya from
Sorry,
Plastic Section.
Archisha. I'm so sorry, but we can't see you.
So my camera is on.
Well, we can't see you, and that's problematic.
So
Yes,
now,
now I can see you. Yes. Please continue.
yes, sir. Self-petrol as it is very precious. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Adrija Bhattacharya from Plastic Section C. Today, I am going to say an incident related to the topic safe petrol. One day, while I was visiting to my grandparents' house, I saw my neighbor, who is very rich, took out his car and went to the market. We were also going to that day because we had also wanted to buy some fruit and take it to our grandparents' house. So I saw that my neighbor is taking his car and going to the market, and the market is from the market from his house is only 2 minutes away. So we were absolutely astonished that why he is wasting such petrol. I told my father about it. My father said that leave it. These people doesn't know what are resources of the earth. They doesn't know how to save it. So if we tell them also, they will not listen to us. We went away from there without thinking further. After many months, my father told me that, you know what happened? The price of petrol is rising and we have to use it very carefully. I thought that, oh my God, so we need to do something, because in our society in this 21st century, everyone, not only everyone, 90% of people have cars and they're using petrol, not only cars, but also bikes and everything. So we pasted posters and everything, and it read it. After some days, that same man, that was my neighbor, came to us and told us that he spoke to us very rudely that there is no need of doing such thing, and a little waste of petrol doesn't matter. All things are nonsense. My grandfather came out from his room and said to him, what are you saying? Do you know and do you even realize that you are wasting and you are destroying Mother Earth, which is very bad and really ruining for everyone? And do you know that any day disaster can come and we can have earthquakes, floods, droughts, etc. So we will save us from that time. So please don't waste petrol. It is very precious. You should save it. The man understood, and we were very happy that we were able to make him understand that yes, petrol is indeed precious. This is the message that I want to convey, that we all should save petrol. It is absolutely very precious. Thank you. Save petrol, save earth. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Archisha. We will move on to the next participant, but I would request all participants once again, I'm reiterating this, do not minimize your screens for any reason whatsoever, because if you do, then the judges won't be able to mark you. There are 10 precious marks for your poise and confidence, and the judges need to see you. Very, very important. Next participant, ma'am.
Yes. Moving on to the next participant from 6C is Jyotir Aditya Singh. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone present here. I'm Jyotir Aditya Singh from class 6C. Today, I'm going to speak on the topic fossil fuels and its conservation. Fuel conservation is very important in today's world. The first thing that we need to do is conserving fuel. And we need to know that what is fuel conservation and why we need to do it. We need fuel conservation because the earth, which is rich in natural resources and fossils, has a specific amount of it. And if we do not conserve and use our resources wisely, we will have to face some problems in future. Fuel conservation is a fundamental concept that most people need to understand, and we must keep in mind that fuel wastage need to be stopped. There are two kinds of resources in the world, renewable and non-renewable. Fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, diesel are non-renewable sources, and once it is exhausted, it cannot be recycled, as it takes millions of years to regenerate. Also, when we talk about the fuel conservation, we must look on to the harmful effects of using these. Petroleum. It takes millions of dollars to be imported from Middle Eastern countries, and coal takes millions of years to form and emit smoke which pollutes the environment. Once the resources run out of supply and depletion of huge resources will begin, and humankind will not be left with any choices. So now I would like to end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And maybe go on to the next participant.
Okay. Moving on to 6D. Before we move on to 6D, children, one announcement. With the one who is speaking, the speaker should turn on their cameras. Rest all, you can turn off your camera. Once your name is being called out, you can turn on your camera. Okay. Moving on to 6D, we have Noirid Basu. Over to you, Noirid.
Warm greetings to one and all present here, and a very good afternoon to all of you. I am Mandritta Bhattacharya from class 6 section D, and today I am going to enlighten you of what the picture has brought in my mind regarding this fact. A glimpse of the picture took me about 150 years back, when even in Calcutta and London, trams were pulled by horses. History repeats itself, so it might be the same for our near future. That was the era before the use of petrol-driven cars. The way we are using our non-renewable sources of energy these days, which have taken centuries to form, might dwindle at the hands of we humans. Thus, the picture dates to a time when all of these sources of energy have dwindled, rendering us with none to use as power sources. It shows us a woman who is selling firewood, and a man on his car is loading the firewood onto his car. He has forgotten of showing the pace of his car and has resorted to muscular force in order to put the loads of load and carry the car. He is using a donkey to pull the car instead of using carts to be pulled by the donkey. Not only has he forgotten this part of our current society, but also he has forgotten the part of using liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, to cook back at home and have a hearty meal. He is sweating in the heat, to use firewood for cooking. The way we are using our non-renewable sources of energy at an alarming rate. But we are unaware of the fact that our future might be this untimely. So, time has come when we should wake up and start conserving energy at each and every step. With that, I come to the conclusion of my speech and a heartiest vote of thanks to the honorable judges and also to my classmates. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Noirhit. Wonderful speech, actually. I'd like to repeat what the MC just mentioned, but which all of you, some of you at least, have not paid heed to. It was just said by her that except for the participant who's speaking, the others should turn their cameras off, please. Do you understand me? Please turn your camera off, except when your name is called. Next participant, ma'am.
Yes. Moving on to 6D, we have Ahuna Deb. Over to you, Ahuna.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good afternoon to honorable judges, respected teachers, and all my dear audiences. I am Ahuna Deb from class 6D. The given picture of a horse-drawn vehicle is really an interesting one. For me, it's a satire to modern days administration. The picture depicts a fusion of history and modern world. Thousands of years ago, a wide variety of arrangements of horses and vehicles were used to pull a car that was used in cities. With huge development in technology, horse-driven cars were replaced by automobiles and other forms of self-propelled transport. But in today's world, cars burn fossil fuels like petrol or diesel to run their engines, and as a result of these combustions, fumes are generated. They exhaust fumes that are causing a number of environmental issues like global warming and air pollution, which is aggravating human health. Although eco-friendly vehicles are manufactured nowadays, the reduce of harmful impacts to the environment, but going back to the basics will be better for the environment. The person shown in the picture for me is quite environment conscious and as well as possess a royal attitude. So he prefers his car to be driven by a horse rather than run by petrol or diesel. For him, the fuel of his car is hay and grain, which is extremely cheap unlike plummeting price of petrol or diesel at present. Moreover, horses are not only self-feeding, self-controlling, self-maintaining and self-producing, but also far more economical in the energy that are able to develop from a given weight of fuel material than any other form of motors. So let's save our environment from acute pollution and opt means of transportation like walking, cycling, and eco-friendly vehicles. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, Ahuna. Great pronunciation. And now we'd like to call upon Oyonapal, who had missed out due to certain issues.
Of 6B. Oyona, are you there? Okay. Moving on to 6E, we have Digangana Biswas. Digangana, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, so a very good afternoon to my respected teachers. My name is Digangana Biswas, and today I will be speaking on the picture that I got. 1 minute, ma'am.
It's okay, Digangana, don't worry. That's all right. You can start again, Digangana. Relax.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so good afternoon, my respected teachers and my dear friends. I hope all of you are having a nice day. So we all have got a picture and we can see a man with a bundle of wood on the top of his car and a woman selling those bundle of wood. At first, I thought there was a deal going on between the woman and the man. I thought that the woman told the man to buy her bundle of wood in exchange for the donkey. But then I realized it's actually the scarcity of resources. Scarcity refers to the limited source we have.
Scarcity is caused by high demand for resources. Basically, it's not having enough of resource when everyone wants it. Nature has provided us with a lot of natural resources such as coal, oil, wood, etc. It is crucial for human being to understand the importance of these resources. It's also showing that the man bought some bundle of woods but uses a donkey to pull his car. It's also showing that due to too much use of fuel, it ran out or got exhausted. This is also known as the depletion of natural resources. Natural resources fall into two classifications, that is, resources that are renewable and non-renewable. India is heavily confronted by the lack of resources and is unable to provide its citizens with enough resources. Water, coal, petroleum products, and so on are increasingly decreasing, leading to their extinction. It is not possible to recover or recycle non-renewable resources such as petrol, coal, minerals, etc. The unavailability of such resources can be a threat to our existence, and it's high time people take note of this. Natural resource depletion happens when resources are consumed at a higher rate than that of substitution. The issue lies not in using them, but in using them unnecessarily and paying little attention to the fact that at one point they will be exhausted. Our Mother Earth could not fulfill the ever-increasing demands of the people. Now the question comes is how we can stop running out of our natural wealth. A solution to this is available. And by saying this, I will come to my conclusion. In order to prevent further destruction of our natural and environmental resources, there are a lot of things that can be done from our end. Our action is what counts, and if we fail to take measures to protect our natural resources, one day they will run away. Let's not hit that stage and use our resources wisely. Thank you. And by saying this, I come to an end of my speech. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Digangana. That was nice. But I would request all participants to keep close watch on the time, please. This is a very tightly scheduled program where we are having students from classes 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 speaking on the same day. The judges are patiently sitting with us. You need to keep careful watch on the time. Next participant, please.
Okay, moving on to 6B, Ayana Pal, are you ready? Ayana, are you there? Ayana? Okay, I believe she is not there. Moving on to 6E, the next participant is Aditya Parekh. Aditya?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. Good morning, one and all present here. Good afternoon, one and all present here. I'm Aditya Parekh of class 6E, and today I'm going to tell a story based on the picture. The name of the story is Jugaad Innovations. And to inform everyone, Jugaad means innovations. So let's start. Once upon a time, there was a man going to meet his great-grandmother using his car. She lived in an old village very far from him. And in his way, his petrol tank dried up. And his ultimate Indian mind that started now. That runs very well on Jugaads. That is, he caught some animal. He caught a donkey running here and there, and tied a rope on his neck, and tied the other end of the rope on his car, and made a modern pull car cart, and bought some bunches of hay to feed him. After some time, when he was going, and he did this donkey trick because there was no gas station near 10 to 20 kilometers.
So he was going and going. He met his great grandmother. She was very sick, and maybe he met her for the last time. So the moral of the story is that Indians can do anything with their jugaads, and India jugaad is the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aditya. Actually, it was lovely to see this refreshing smile on your face when you began speaking. And I'd request all other participants to do the same.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Correctly said, sir. Moving on to 6F, we have Swastika Agarwal. Over to you, Swastika. Swastika Agarwal, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Swastika, I believe you are facing some network problem.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you just give me 2 minutes?
Okay, you take your time. Till then, I'll move on to the next participant from 6F, Abhinibesh Shah. Abhinibesh, over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, one and all present here. I am Abhinibesh Shah from class 6F, and today I am going to speak on the picture given. So, the picture given is very interesting, and it may be the reality which will happen after some years. It is about the scarcity of all the types of fossil fuels that we use nowadays. One day it will come that we will be facing scarcity of all kinds of fossil fuels that we use to run our transportation systems and vehicles. The man in the picture has a car but can't use fossil fuels because of their scarcity. The woman is now very happy because the man is buying the resources that are found in the villages. And the donkey is also very happy because he got back his job of pulling the carts, but now instead of the carts, he's pulling the modern carts. So we should note that every year 7.1 billion tons of oil is used by us. And if this continues, in 10 to 14 years, we will be depleting all the energy resources that we have. We should use renewable resources such as the solar and wind power in order to run all our systems and continue our livelihood. We should realize how important it is in order to use renewable resources and stop using fossil fuels. If we do not realize that we have to use our resources very carefully, we will be facing a lot of trouble. So let's use our resources carefully and wisely. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhinivesh. And the message is coming across so strongly that henceforth, I'm going to keep switch off my engine at every traffic signal, something I never used to do. Next participant, please.
Swastika Agarwal from 6F. Swastika, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Kindly turn on your camera.
Ma'am, my camera is on.
We can't see you, Swastika. And it is imperative that we see you.
Can you see me now?
No, Swastika.
Ma'am, in the call, I am unable to see anyone except me.
But then we are not able to see you.
And you'll miss out on those 10 marks, which is for poise and confidence.
Ma'am, now?
No, Swastika.
Ma'am, now?
No.
No. Ma'am, I have turned on my camera.
I understand, Swastika. Okay, I would request the judges that we can't wait for her, but I'd request the judges, even while we are doing class 7, class 8, if she manages and sends us a message saying that her camera is working properly, then perhaps we could go back to class 6 and give her a chance.
Ma'am.
Don't worry, Swastika, keep trying. Keep trying. In the meanwhile, we'll be calling upon other participants as well.
Yes. So don't worry, Swastika, don't panic. Just fix your problem. We are going to call you, okay? Now, Ayana Pal, this is the last call for you. Ayana Pal from 6P, this is the last call for you. Ayana, are you there? I believe she is not there.
Okay, now that we've come to the end of class 6, with the exception of Swastika, whom we can call upon later, we are having a different practice here in this middle school event, unlike the junior school event, which happened earlier, where all 3 judges spoke at the end. But out here, we are doing it a little differently. And with each class finishing, we will request one judge to speak on what they've seen. Okay? So now that class 6 has spoken, I would request Mr. Nathan Gaspar Chaudhary to share his thoughts and opinions. Over to you, Mr. Gaspar Chaudhary. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roy. First of all, a very, very good morning to my dear students, the SME, the moderator, and my fellow judges. Well, I also judged the classes 4 and 5 for their public speaking competition, and they were impeccable. And because of that, I had this premonition, an idea, a feeling that the class 6s, they surely must be a level ahead. And definitely enough, you little boys and girls have definitely lived up to my expectations, because you all definitely are a level ahead of them. And hopefully, as you practice more and more and speak more and more at such events, your confidence, your fluency, your accents will all become much better, and you all will become very charismatic human beings. So my advice to you is, even if you don't win today, it doesn't matter. You're still a finalist taking part in this competition, and I would encourage you to speak more and more to build your own confidence. And also, I was very impressed with all the students citing, excuse me, the various problems that we are facing regarding fossil fuels and the suggestions that you all have stated that we should implement so that we can still have petroleum and coal in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gaspar Chaudhary, for sharing your thoughts and for encouraging the class 6ers in that noble manner. And we will now go on to class 7. Class 7 has been given a starting line. Using that starting line, they will create their own story. There is no picture for them, only a starting line. Okay? As far as the timing is concerned, it will be the same as class 6. 2 minutes of speaking.
Excuse me,
time.
sir.
Yes. Swastika.
Am I now visible?
Swastika, please mute yourself. There'll be 2 minutes of speaking time for class 7 as well. And after 1.5 minutes, there'll be a warning bell. I would request class 7, you all are older than class 6. I'm sure you can keep one eye on your clocks, please, on your timepieces. Okay? Please don't overshoot. Many people have overshot till now. As I said, this is a very tightly scheduled program. So, class 7 presents Spin a Story. Over to you, Srishti ma'am, to take us through the names of the participants of class 7. And on screen, you can see what the first line of the story is. And then it happened. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. The first participant from 7A is Vaibhavi Majumdar. Vaibhavi, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Vaibhavi Majumdar of class 7A. And let me narrate to you all a story named Precious. And then it happened. After days of prayer, it finally happened. After 16 months, without the sight of a single little cloud in the sky, it finally rained in my village. Hansa Kaki, our neighbor, was the first one to notice the droplets. She could not believe her eyes. But when she realized that this is the reality, she screamed with joy. Slowly, we all gathered in front of our houses to celebrate the rain. Chunni, our stray dog, and my beloved, was the happiest. Last winter, she had lost all her children due to shortage of food. But now she was filled with hope again. But we didn't wait outside our home for long. We rushed in to bring buckets and containers to store the rainwater. Here, we could not afford to lose a little drop of water. Water here is believed to be sacred and the gift of Goddess. So we all thanked her for her blessing. It is also believed that every time it rains, if we plant saplings, the Goddess will bless us with rain next time. We all were happy. We looked at the sky and thanked her once again. This was indeed my best birthday gift.
Thank you so much, Vaibhavi. Excellent pronunciation, lovely diction, very good. Next person, please.
Yes. Before moving on to the next participant, it seemed, Vaibhavi, you loved your poem Rain in Summer, and in your speech, I could see the influence very well. Well said. Moving on to the next participant from 7A, we have Adrija Biswas.
Thank you, teachers. And then it happened, which was totally unexpected. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I am Adrija Biswas of class 7A, and today I'm going to narrate a short story before you all named The Night with Nightmares. And then it happened. But what? Let me tell you. Hi, I am Sani, a 10-year-old girl, and I welcome you all to the sweetest dream I ever had. Was it the sweetest? I don't think so. Let us see if Sani's dream was the sweetest or the darkest. One fine evening, when Sani was walking on the streets of London, she suddenly felt like someone was behind her. Though she was correct, but still, for confirmation, she turned around, but she couldn't see anyone. Behind the bushes, she saw something amazing that she could not forget ever. She saw a dinosaur who was like standing behind her with fearful eyes and an empty stomach. I mean, could you believe that? If you were in this position, what would you have done? She was so scared that she couldn't move a bit. The only thing that she had in her head was the name of her mother, and she cried it out. Her mother came running from the kitchen, not into her dream, but in her room. Her mother shouted, and after waking up, she felt like she was all lying. She told her mother about this careful dream, and then she felt very light. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adrija. That was nice. And next participant, please.
Yes. Moving on to the next section, 7B, we have Srishti Shah.
Thank you, teachers. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Srishti Shah of class 7B, and today I would like to narrate a short story on the topic, the final destination. And then it happened that I have reached my final destination. You must be thinking that it is something related to my success, but no. Let's see, what is it? The story dates back to the time when I was in heaven with God. I was playing, and when the God came and told that he is going, now my turn has come to come down to the earth. I was very happy, but as well shocked. I told to God, God, who is going to take care and share love with me as you do? The God smiled and told that he has already created someone named parents for me. And I finally reached the earth. Here, everyone was very loving and caring. But I realized something, that I require someone with whom I can spend my time and with whom I can enjoy. And for that reason, I wished the God for the same. And he created my sister, and she came to me. And we enjoyed ourselves a lot. And then after a few years, I finally stepped in my learning age. And there I requested to God for someone who can teach me and guide me. And so he created my teachers. And then again, I wanted someone who can give me the correct decision. and be with me every time. And then this time God didn't create anyone, but he gave me a boon to select. And do you know whom I created? I created myself. I created self-service. I created self-confidence, self-love inside me. And I was so satisfied that I did not require anything else. And the moral of this story is your destination is in you. Just create it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Srishti. That was great, actually. And we go down to the next participant, please.
Our next participant from 7B is Rudronil Basu. Over to you, Rudronil.
Thank you so much, ma'am. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. My name is Rudronil Basu and I am from class 7 section. Today I am going to narrate a story. And then it happened in a flash. In 2018, I went with my parents in Sundarban in a government launch. The launch name was Chitralekha. I entered the river and I was expecting to see a tiger, which I had waited for my life. Before going in the vacation, I had done little research about Sundarban, about animals. The jungle was extremely creepy. Suddenly, from the middle of the forest, a tiger came out. And the tiger hunted a wild boar. I was extremely scared by seeing this view. It was an extremely fascinating view which I had ever seen. And I am privileged to see it with my parents. And that day, I realized how strong a tiger can be. And after that, I had gone inside the river. And after that, I saw another wild boar who was hunting. And I would remember this by the rest of my life. And with that, I end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rudronil. That was lovely. And I would request Chaudhary and Srishti and anybody else who still have their camera switched on, please switch it off. Please switch your camera off, Chaudhary. And next participant, please.
Yes. Before moving on to class 7, I would like to call Swastika Agarwal from 6F. And this is the last call for you, Swastika.
Judges, please note that even though we are in the middle of class 7, this girl, she faced an issue a little while back.
Yeah.
So we are giving a last call to her. If she responds, well and good.
Swastika, this is the last call for you. Okay. Moving on with 7C, we have S. Srishti Shah. Srishti Shah, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there.
Over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, one and all present here. My name is Srishti Shah, and today I'm going to narrate a short story. And then it finally happened. I saw my mom standing at the airport, smiling at me. Well, let me take you back to 2011 when I was 4. This was the day my mom sat me down and she told me that she was going to transfer to Bombay. I was 4. I couldn't handle that news pretty well. So I was really sad. Even though I had my grandparents and my father by my side, I was really scared. I didn't know what to do, how to manage, but I told myself, it will be all right. I'll talk to my mom every day on phone and ask her how she was, what did she eat, and every single little detail that we used to share when she was here. And then the day finally came when she was leaving. Everyone was crying, including myself. So I hugged her after we reached the airport. Well, and I told her that when you're coming back, please bring me a box of chocolate, or else I won't hug you back. We both smiled and she left. The first week after she left was really hard for me. So after that, life became normal. I did whatever I did, like normal. Like it was everything back to normal. So yeah. And then that I was 8. Time flew by. Then the day came. She was coming back, and I said, "Hurry up! We need to go to the airport." Everyone got ready and went there. So then I hugged her back, and she was holding a box of chocolate. We enjoyed them together. Thank you, everyone.
I just can't help saying that, Srisha, your speech was great, fantastic, actually.
Especially the way she articulated.
And we're going on to the next participant.
Yes. Moving on to this next participant from 7C, we have Adrija Bhattacharya. Over to you,
Yes,
Adrija.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. May I speak?
Yes, of course.
Yes. Good afternoon, respected teachers, honorable judges, and our beloved principal ma'am. I'm Adrija Bhattacharya of class 7C, narrating a story, Home Alone. And then it happened. I was finally home alone. What a pleasant day to live, right? My parents bade me goodbye and left, and I ran straight to my room with a cup of orange juice, trying not to spill it. I grabbed the nearest book around me, which was Shining, written by Stephen King. I was kind of scared to read it, but I was also excited. I wrapped the blanket around my body and started reading it. The book was so interesting and fun to read that I did not realize it was already 2:45 a.m. in the morning. I hurriedly brushed my teeth, turned off the lights, locked the gates, and jumped on my bed. Can't wait to sleep. I was tired, really, until I heard a strange noise. I thought it was the stray cats fighting, everyday thing. And no, unfortunately, I was wrong. There was a red cloth and a basketball and blood on it. Lots of blood. And note which said, "Happy holidays, Adrija," with a smiley face on it. I was scared. I stood there, frozen, my heart beating fast as a race car. My feet were cold, my hands were shaking, sweat all around my forehead. Without wasting any time, I grabbed the kitchen knife, went downstairs. It was dark, but that's not my concern right now. I only cared about the person who sent me the note. Who was it? I heard somebody laugh like a maniac. I ran fast, reached my room again, and there was nothing. The cloth, the bat, the bloody note, the basketball, nothing. Adrija, wake up! You're late! You're late for school. You know that, right? I heard my mother screaming at me. I started crying and woke up grabbing the bottle of water, shaking beside me. It was just a strange dream, but it scared me for life. And even now, I get goosebumps thinking about it. Thank you, everyone.
Adrija, stories on separation, thrillers. What are we going to have next? Next participant, please.
Our next participant from 7D, we have Shomili Devnath. Over to you, Shomili. Shomili, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I'm Shomili Devnath from class 7D, and today I will tell a story named The Best Gift. And then it happened at last. You would ask, what has happened that has made me so happy? Well, let me tell you what has happened. My role model is Mother Teresa. As she helps the needy, I too want to help the poor people according to my capacity. And I was planning for it for many years. And so I made up my mind and I started raising some fund. And the money and the gifts that I got during the pujas, I used to keep them separately for my fund. And the day before my birthday, my mom asked me, "What do you want for your birthday?" I told my mom, "Mom, it's my wish to help the poor. So we can go to an orphanage, and then that would be my best birthday ever." And my mother was speechless. She only hugged me. On my birthday, we went to an orphanage home located in Shurjapur, which is run by Ramakrishna Vivekananda Mission. And there, I distributed clothes, food, and toys to them. And I was so happy. They were smiling at me. And I made friends with all. And there were many people who were blind or deaf and dumb. I felt so sorry for them. I made friendship with Sarah, and I enjoyed the day the most. When I was returning to my home, Sarah came running at me with a flower and a wide smile. She gifted me that, and I was very happy to get that. That was the best gift of my life, and I loved it. So I seek blessings from all so that I can pursue my task. Thank you all.
Thank you, Shomili. That was wonderful. And the next
Hello.
Please bear with us. We are having a major network problem out here and we'll be back soon.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. This is Arpa Ghosh speaking.
কি বলছেন? হ্যাঁ? ও আচ্ছা হ্যাঁ ক্লাস করছি আমি ক্লাসটা পরে আপনাকে বলে দিই।
Okay. We are so sorry. We are facing some sort of network problem and we are working on it. Till then, we'll continue.
Hello, excuse me. This is Arpa Ghosh here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we had stopped with Shomili Devnath. So
Yes,
I would like to clarify. So I hope no one else has spoken.
No, ma'am.
Because I had left and I have rejoined the meeting. So now I can see both of you. So do we wait for the thing to resume? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We are facing some sort of network
Actually,
problem.
you know, if people leave and then they come back, it helps. That is something I've seen.
Okay, ma'am.
Participants. All right. Okay. Then we will wait for the things to, please let us know.
Yes, ma'am. We'll shortly begin. The last participant who spoke was Shomili Devnath from 7D. Now, moving on to the next speaker, we have Kevin Gomes from 7D. Kevin, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to all my respected teachers and my judges. I am Kevin Gomes of Class 7, Section D, and the title of my story is, What Are We Gonna Do? And then it happened. James dropped Ayush's cycle into the pond. Rakesh, Vikas and I were laughing with tears when this happened. Ayush ran to the scene and saw his cycle in the pond. He started smiling, and we could see the pain in his smile. He was heartbroken. We got the cycle out of the pond, and Ayush said, I am never giving my cycle to James again. He does not know how to ride. Later that day, we took the cycle to James's house to wash it. And when we reached there, James said, Oh, sorry. My house is locked and we cannot get inside. My parents have gone to buy groceries. I'm sorry about that. Ayush got furious. He told James, What? Why didn't you tell us before? You wasted our time. You made us walk 10 minutes from the park to your house for absolutely no reason. This is so irritating. I hate this day. Ayush sat down near the road to cool down when a great idea came to my mind. I asked Ayush, Hey Ayush, do you have leftover change? Chips that day? And Ayush said, Yeah, why, what's the matter? And I told him, We can go to the car wash down the street. Maybe they can wash it for us. Then Ayush said, That's a great idea. Let's go. We ran to the car wash. And the people there were really kind. They washed the cycle for us for free. Later that day again, we returned home and tried to forget about whatever happened. That's the end of my story. Thank you.
Just about nick of time, Kevin. Anyway, we go to the next person.
Yes. Moving on to 7E, we have Srishti Shah. Over to you, Srishti.
Yes, ma'am. And then it happened. The most awaited Christmas gift arrived. Maybe we stop the music, the delivery guy is here. Oh, okay. Hi, is this Linda? Oh no, Linda is my mom, but you can give it to me. While taking the parcel, my face became pale after seeing a 4-people huge cylindrical box. Good afternoon to all present here. I am Srishti Shah. This is the story of the unexpected. While taking the parcel, Being disappointed, I said, "Oh no, not again." I thought that my mom brought my little sister Minnie another life-size Barbie doll, even though she had one in the cupboard like for years, but never even decided to play with it. It was Christmas Eve. During the dinner, I asked my mom about the parcel. She said she didn't even order one. I was utterly confused. My mom knew nothing. I did not order anything. My dad lives far away in Australia, and Minnie is not even allowed to touch the phone. Then who on earth ordered such a huge box? It was 1 p.m. at night, and I and Minnie just could not resist without opening the parcel. We sneaked, and we finally made it to the parcel. We cut it open, and guess what? In that huge box, was a small envelope, and inside that envelope was a letter of my dad saying that he couldn't send any gift other than a box of candy. My father sent me my most favorite box of candy. It was the candy that my mother would allow me to eat like once in 6 months, and I was just so happy on getting them. While I was about to break out into tears, my dad jumped out of nowhere and hugged us. It was the most unexpected yet the greatest thing that could ever happen to me. I sighed. Oh, Dad, your habit of suddenly surprising others has never changed. And it's actually a blessing for me that my dad had never changed. And frankly, I just don't even want him to change. He's perfect just the way he is. Thank you.
Once again, in the nick of time, Swastika, but I was mesmerized. Absolutely. Next person, please.
Yes. Moving on to the next participant, we have Chaudhary Kormokar from 7E. Chaudhary, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Over to you.
And then it happened. Ria was finally going to fulfill her dream. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chaudhary Kormokar, and today I'm going to narrate a short story, A Dream Come True. Ria was a girl in her early 20s studying at one of the most famed fashion designing colleges. She was a brilliant student and loved fashion designing with her entire heart. But despite having an undying love for fashion designing, when it came to showing others her work, she used to feel very shy and hesitant. She used to be afraid about messing up and embarrassing herself in front of everyone. So she never used to participate in any of the competitions or events or even the fashion shows. One day, her mentor told her that they had received an invitation from the grandest fashion contest of the city, the Star Style Fashion Contest. It was that contest in which the best designers from every fashion college used to participate. And Ria's college had registered her name for it. Though it was Ria's all-time dream to participate in the contest, she still told her mentor that she wasn't ready for it. She started panicking. Her mentor told her to calm down. It was okay to mess up. But the thing that counted was her hard work and the effort she put into it. Ria was inspired. She started working hard day and night for preparing for the competition, and she created the best dresses. The dresses were so beautiful that words can't describe them. Those are masterpieces. And the day finally came when Ria's time was there to show the entire city her best works. And guess what? Ria won the competition, making her dreams come true. Thank you.
We move on to the next person.
Yes. Moving on to the last section, 7F, we have Ghoshal. Arathri Ka, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Arathri Ka Ghoshal of class 7F. Now I will narrate a story, The Treasure Hunt. And then it happened. We found an old treasure box. Yes, a treasure box. Well, it didn't have actual treasure in it, but we had a lot of fun searching for it. It all started last week. We went to my grandmother's house after a long time. It was in a countryside. I could smell the fresh air and soft green grass. I felt like a village girl. After reaching there, I ran to my grandmother and hugged her.
My village friends were also there. We sat with my grandmother for a long chat. But after chatting for some time, I pleaded my grandmother to tell a story. And she started with, once when we were little, my mother told us about a treasure box. The moment we heard treasure box, we stood up and said, treasure box? She told us we might still find it in the bark of an old tree in the village, but we have to find it for ourselves. We got very excited and ran to search for it. We had a lot of fun the entire day. We helped each other and searched for the treasure box, and we almost touched the entire village. We had a lot of fun. The moment we found it, we opened it. We looked at each other and burst out in laughter. It only had a paper written on it. Did you have fun? And yes, it was the best experience I ever had. I will never forget it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arathri, and we are finally down to the last participant of class 7.
Yes. Over to the last one from class 7F. We have Adrija Mondol. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, one and all present here. Today, I, Adrija Mandal from class 7F, is going to narrate a story. And then it happened. My grandmother shouted loud for help, and by hearing it, all the people of the colony came running. What a terrible scene they saw! All were just dumb after seeing it. My grandmother was caught in fire. Her feet was burning and hands too. She tried to free her from the fire, but all efforts were in vain. After this, all the colony people dashed into her room. They saw that already it was too late because her half of the body was totally burned. When the colony people finally put the fire off, my grandmother fainted down. For me, she is a very strong woman because it is truly not possible for an old lady to sustain the burning for about 20 minutes. After this, she was taken to the BRC burning department. A month and she was put into the operation theater for dressing, and after a month, she wanted to come home. I would hear her cry when she was being dressed by the nurse. My uncle took her to many hospitals and drained out a bountiful of money, but she did not survive. Her death made her elder son depressed, and still I see my mother crying in front of the God. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrija. And we've now ended with class 7. And just as I called upon Mr. Nathan Gaspar Chaudhary to share his thoughts after class 6, I will now request Ms. Orpa to share her thoughts and opinions after having witnessed class 7. Ma'am, are you there?
Yes. Can you see me and hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes. You're perfectly
Yes, a
audible
very
and
good
visible.
afternoon.
You're perfectly audible and visible.
Thank you. Thank you. A very good afternoon to the organizers of this wonderful program, and a big thank you to the principal and all organizing teachers of St. Augustine School in general, and to my friend Shrutopa in particular for including me in this event. It has taken me down nostalgia lane because as a student, I wasn't such a bad public speaker and debater myself. But then afterwards, I got a bit rusty. So all these young, girls, boys and girls who are taking such pleasure in in practicing rhetoric, their rhetorical skills. This is really, quite a moving experience for me. Now, regarding storytelling, since I'm supposed to speak on this section, I would like to tell my dear participants that you are in very good company. You are in the company of Princess Sherzadeh and Raja Vikramaditya and Rishi Valmiki and Vedov Bash. So we are a country that takes a great pleasure in spinning stories. So I hope, and I can see that you are making a great effort to carry the tradition forward. Remember, there is a difference in oral and written tradition. When you are speaking, you have to dramatize the event a bit, which some of you did. Now, actually, you see, when I got this byline and then it happened, I thought that at least one or two participants would be talking about the pandemic. And then the pandemic happened. So sorry about the cat. Very sorry. So just bear with me for 2 more minutes. So, but I guess being the kind of resilient people that you are, you have taken the pandemic in your stride. You've been very graceful and flexible about it, and it has seemed to you quite normal and ordinary. So, which is why you did not make it part of the storytelling session. For senior people like me and Shuman sir. The pandemic is what happened, and what really got us off kilter. So that was there. Congratulations on your speaking skills, and I'm very happy that you're participating, just weathering all these glitches and navigating this difficult virtual terrain. This is enough for the moment. With time, with experience, you will mature into excellent storytellers. And thank you for giving me such a good time. That would be all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Just to have you here with us. And now we will be going over to class 8. Class 8 will be debating on a motion. Rules are slightly different for class 8. They will not be speaking for 2 minutes. They will be speaking for 3 minutes. And after 2.5 minutes, there will be a warning. The motion for today is that fairy tales and film endings convey a false sense of reality to children. Over to you, ma'am, to go through the names of the class 8 participants.
Yes, thank you, sir. Before I begin with the names of class 8, I must say one thing. I never knew the beginning of one line, could sound so well for you. So wonderful students for all the class 7 who spoke really, really well. Moving on to the next section, that is debate. The first participant I'm going to call from 8A is Doibi Shinga Roy. Doibi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, may I start?
Yes, of course.
Suppose a superhero is being shown in the TV, just jumping off from the roof and then saving the life of a cat falling from the tree. Your 6-year-old kid just was seeing the same thing and did the same thing after sawing a cat just falling from the tree one day. Don't you think it's going to be the most unpleasant and unwelcomed incident in your life? Thank you all for this phenomenal opportunity. Today, I, Doibi Singh Roy from class 8A, wishing the honorable jury, my respected teachers, my fellow debaters, and my dear lovely audience a warm good afternoon. Intend to extend my views on the favor of the motion by going for it. Just remember about the kid who fell from the roof that day. Just an action shown in the TV snatched away the life of a kid, of a brother, of a son, of a friend, and much more. Even if we see fairy tales and films, they should be made realistic, where they are shown the strong men and women who fight for their own lives, who have the real flaws and incredible qualities, who fight and rescue themselves. Remember, life and reality do not have any happily ever afters, but it has a very important and precious thing, that is a tomorrow. Yes, reality is not the duration of 2 or 3 hours, but reality is something that gives you a tomorrow and always gives you a new chance to prove yourselves and to make yourselves better. I want to wind it up by saying that life and reality is not when, if you lose your one shoe at midnight, a prince will come and save your life and then fix all the problems of your life easily. But life and reality is when you realize that if you lose your shoe at midnight, then you have to walk barefoot to your home. To reach your home, you have to face thorns, you have to face stones on the road, but you are going to fight yourself. And there will be no prince or no hero to come and save you. You will fight it yourself, and you will one day reach your home by yourself. Because life is indeed not a fairy tale or a film. It is a reality. Thank you all for your precious time. Thank you so much once again.
That was fantastic, Doibi. And we will now be going on to our second participant.
Yes. Moving on to the next participant, we have Prerona Banerjee from 8A. Over to you, Prerona.
Thank you, ma'am. May I start?
Yes, Prerona.
Okay, ma'am. Good afternoon to one and all present here. Happy ending. What do you actually mean by the term happy ending? Endings which are positive or create positive impacts. So I, Prerona Banerjee from class 8, section 8, considering the fact fairy tales and films with happy ending create a false sense of reality to children. But I'm going to speak against the motion. Yes, against the motion. As I have already mentioned it before, what happy ending is, before I give my own opinion, I would like to give certain examples. Like most of us present here have seen, perhaps in the movie Mission Mongol, where we can see that initially the team was unsuccessful in launching the missile. However, in the last scene, we can see that the team has successfully launched it. Isn't this a happy ending? Yes, of course it is. Now, is this scene contributing to a false sense of reality to the children? I don't find any reason for it. Rather, I think that the children who are watching this film must have learned this lesson that failure is the pillar to success. It's not that if you have failed today, you have failed for your entire life. It only means that you have to work more hard and one day or the other you will definitely succeed. Now, another example which I would like to give today is the movie English Finglish. In this film, we can see a middle-aged lady was unable to speak in English properly in the first half. She understands that in order to survive in this modern age, she has to master it. And she gradually learns it, and in the last scene, we can see that she is speaking in English damn fluently. Don't we call this a happy ending? Yes, of course we do. Now, is this film creating a false sense of impact to the children? I don't think so. Rather, I think that the children understand that they need to familiarize themselves with the situation. And if they face a difficult situation, it's not just about sitting and wondering, oh my God, I can't do this. I really don't know what is going to happen next. It's only about learning the things. And if you are able to learn new things, you are the champion. From this examples, we can understand that fairy tales and films do not create a false sense of reality to the children. Rather, it helps them to understand that in the difficult situations, it's not just about giving up and getting scared. It's about learning what is reality, and handling the situation with a smile on our face is something which is accepted as well as appreciated. So with this, I would like to conclude my speech by saying that fairy tales and films do not really contribute to the don't impact the children, but they provide positive impact and appreciate and as well as inspire us. Thank you.
Thank you, Prerona. That was fantastic. And I'd like to announce with pleasure that our network has revived. All this while, we were going by mobile network and we were having some problems, but we are back on the main screen now. The next participant, please.
Yes. Moving on to the next section of class 8B, I would like to call upon Ayushi Bhattacharya. Over to you, Ayushi.
Yes, ma'am, I'm perfectly visible and audible.
Perfectly visible and audible. Over to you.
All is well that ends well. Even if this quote is quite familiar, quite common, inspiring in nature, but it hardly is relatable to a real life. Life is always, well, life ends well. It does not match. A very good afternoon to everyone present here. This house believes that fairy tales and movies that have a happy ending give false sense or convey false sense of reality to children, and I, Ayushi Bhattacharya of class 8B, am completely for the motion. Difficulties and problems, two things that is quite often in our lives, and those are termed to be as speed breakers of life. We do not think of a life which does not have these two things. These are to be set as the essence of our life. Think if today you came up to the stage and you spoke flawlessly without practicing. That's utterly not possible. But if this scene was there in the movie, then the hero will go up to the stage, speak flawlessly without any mistakes, efficiently, and the audience will certainly stand up and clap. That is not possible in reality without practicing before, without gaining confidence, without gaining courage. That is, of course, not possible. And my worthy opponent, did it happen with you? No, you had practiced a lot. And I think all the speakers sitting here will agree to me that they had practiced a lot of time before coming up to the stage and speaking. But children, when they will see these things in the movie, they'll think that going to the stage and speaking is so easy. Until and unless they face it in their real life, they won't understand the difficulties one's face. And that is when parents say that you need to read books other than seeing the TVs and that idiot box, we don't understand, and we simply say it to be, you are saying something that is preventing my freedom. Oh no, freedom is there, but this idiot box is hampering you a lot. You are seeming that the life is so easy, but a life without difficulties is not existing. And why do parents say to read books? Because books reflect the reality of the life, the truth of the society that will prepare us for future difficulties, future problems that we will face in our later life. If we are not prepared for it from today, then we will utterly be in a false position in future. That our parents cannot accept. We have to be very much confident. And as of today, I would like to rest my case here with a single note that think if your child, if your brother or anyone who is in below children, like below the age of 12 is engrossed in these movies, they are hampering themselves a lot. They will face this a lot difficulties when they go in future and face problems in their offices. Thank you for patiently listening to me.
Thank you, Ayushi. Excellent, actually. I can see that you people are very confident indeed. And after 3 years of public speaking, 3 years of spoken English, you all have gained in confidence. We move on to the next participant.
Yes. Before I move on to the next one, as Sir correctly stated, I believe even you will agree to me, the public speaking competition, it's being held online. So you people are getting trained online and you are coming up with such well-versed speech. Wonderful students. You are doing wonderful. Keep up the spirit. Okay. Moving on to the next participant from 8B, we have Anushka Biswas. Over to you, Anushka.
Am I perfectly visible and audible?
Yes, Anushka, both.
How sweet are the memories of curling up in bed and disappearing into the another world where dragons fly and princes fight. The teachings of fairy tales are really very useful. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. The house believes in the motion, and today's motion is fairy tales and films with happy endings convey a false sense of reality to children. I, Anushka Biswas from class 8, am going to speak against the motion. Children's literature helps a young child make sense of what is to be human and helps them understand the world around them. Fairy tales teach children how to deal with basic human conflicts, desires, and relationships in a healthy way. We live in a literally time of realism and postmodern anti-heroes. The good guy turns out to be a villain. Bad things happen to good people no matter their right choices. This is reality we tell ourselves. Characters are pure representations used to illustrate what is the story teaching us. Good is good, evil is evil, and good can overcome the evil in the end. Fairy tales are stories that try to find the truth and give us glimpses of greater things. Fairy tales do not tell children that the dragons exist. Children already know that the dragons exist. Fairy tales tell the children that dragons can be killed. Some might worry that filling little minds with stories of evil witches and scary monsters will create nightmares. But the world is already full of big, scary things to a young child. Being clever and kind might not always be the answer to overcoming real-life trials. But the tale of brave little Tailor encourages children to try it. Not everyone has the confidence to conquer obstacles like Grimm's four skillful brothers, but the tale offers hope amidst big, scary real-life dragons. Fairy tales teach children critical thinking and help children to learn to navigate life. They see the consequences of characters' decisions and learn that what will happen to them depends on the choices they make. Children can learn alongside those characters and think of how they might solve the problems. These stories provide readers with hope, determination, and the courage that they too can overcome difficulties and become successful in a challenging world like this, just like the young protagonists in the fairy tales. Well, it's for indirect moral lessons, improving their imaginations, or because children can't put the book down. Reading fairy tales should be encouraged, according to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anushka. Very, very nice indeed. And the next person, please.
Yes. Moving on to the next section, we have Shripana Sadhu from 8C. Shripana, are you there?
Ma'am, may I start?
Yes. You're both audible and visible.
Oh, ma'am. So, will anyone here believe me if I say that I have visited my childhood with the help of a tin machine years back? No, right? So, good afternoon, one and all present here. The house believes in the motion that fairy tales and films with a happy ending convey a false sense of reality to children. And I, Sriparna Sadhu from class 8C, am going to speak for the motion. Fairy tales and films are existing in our life just for our entertainment. Children up to the age of 8 to 9 years love to be a part of the illusionary world. It is just there to spend their leisure time. However, when they come to know about the difficulties of the life, when they come to know that it is not the way the ball bounces in real life, they lose confidence and finally go for frustrations. Yes. Getting a job in the story of a film is quite very easy. However, getting a job in the real life is not a matter of joke. Children love to be a part of the fairy world, and it is quite very okay. However, if they consider themselves as a character of the fairy world and say that my child says that his character is very much matching with that of Harry Potter's character, it is next to impossible, right? So it is very next to impossible if we say that my life is like the story of a film which I have watched 2 years back. So it is very easy to persevere in fairy tale life. However, in reality, it is not easy to persevere in life. In certain aspects of life, there are some difficulties which we all face in our real life, which becomes very difficult for us to move on. And if we are very much addicted to this fairy world, we lack morals because fairy tales with a happy ending, most of the time, they are least moral. So if we lack moral, we are now deteriorating in our life. And if we spend more time in watching films with happy endings and consider them to be real in our life, we are just kidding ourselves and we are just lacking confidence. So with this, I rest my case here, and I will always say that we should not believe in fairy tales and move in our life with confidence. I rest my case here. My apologies, my voice correct. Thank you.
Thank you, actually. We are really enlightened by the points of view given by the participants till now, and we will be continuing. Next speaker.
Yes. The next speaker from 8C, we have Indrajit Chatterjee.
Am I audible?
Both. You're audible and visible both. Over to you.
So, good morning to one and all present here. I'm Indrajit Chatterjee from class 8C, and the house believes in the notion that fairy tales and films with happy endings convey a false sense of reality to children, and I am here to speak against the topic. Children's literature helps a young child make sense of what is it to be a human and helps them understand the world around them. The fairy tale genre provides various ways for children to receive important messages. Although there are some fairy tale themes which are unrealistic, although there are some fairy tale themes which are unrealistic, overall they have a positive impact on them. Also, sir, can I restart my speech?
Indrajit, don't worry, relax, just calm down. Okay, you want to start again?
Yes, I want to start again.
Shall we just give him one more time?
Okay, fair enough, but let's go for it fast. We're running way behind schedule.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
Indrajit.
Good morning to one and all present here. I'm Indrajit Chatterjee from class 8C, and the house believes in the notion that fairy tales and films with happy endings convey a false sense of reality to children, and I am here to speak against the topic. Children's literature helps a young child make sense of what is it to be a human and helps them understand the world around them. The fairy tale genre provides various ways for children to receive important messages. Young children often like fairy tales due to their happy endings, as the innocent mind cannot cope up with the harsh reality of this world. Although there are some fairy tale themes which are unrealistic, overall they have a positive impact and offer various fundamental elements for a child's development. Although opponents argue that fairy tales may be dangerous in terms of the underlying messages, the overall impact that they have on children are positive and do more good than harm. Another positive of fairy tales is they can help with disorders that most people would think are treatable just by reading a book. Reading a fairy tale with a happy ending brings positive thoughts to a child's mind. In closing, children who are exposed to fairy tales can benefit greatly from them. Fairy tales are an important part of a child's development, especially in terms of their consciousness and moral development. On another note, counselors and therapists can use fairy tales as a means of allowing children with illness to cope up with their anxieties. These false sense of happy endings often help in growing the imagination of children. This is the source of many discoveries and inventions. Thus, fairy tales provide a way of expressing oneself within the confines of a text and a story and helps one reach a resolution in times of conflicting states of mind. With that, I would like to raise my case here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Indrajit. Your second attempt was much more impressive than how you began the first time. And the next participant, please.
Moving on to the next section, 8D, we have Oishi Shengupto.
Okay, ma'am. So can I start?
Absolutely. Yes.
Suppose you are a 4-year-old child and your lovely pet dog is lying in his deathbed right in front of you. But you believe that Doraemon will magically appear from the future and rescue him for you. But after a few minutes, your dog passes away. All your beliefs, expectations, faith are completely shattered away. And just how much do you think that will hurt you? So, a very good afternoon to one and all present in this meeting. Today's motion of the house is fairy tales and films with a happy ending provide a false sense of reality to the children. And I'm completely for the motion. So, I presume that we have all watched the infamous movie Koi Mil Gaya. As we know that in this movie, Rohit was mentally challenged. He could not do things that people of his age could easily do. But as soon as Jadoo appeared, he literally turned into a superhuman. And you know what? If children like of age 3 and 4 watch this, they would completely believe this. And they would just give up on their studies and wait for Jadoo to show up in their lives too. And you know what? They're wasting all this precious time when they could have been preparing themselves for the future. Also, they would be heartbroken when they fail in the future. And I think this is going to severely affect them when they grow up. Also, did you notice that in most fairy tales, there are either two types of character? Either the Cinderella stepmother kind of character who should just drop off from the face of earth, or the Snow White type of character who are like the purest and the kindest persons ever. But did you notice that there is like no neutral characters in these stories whatsoever? And did you know that the age difference between Snow White and Prince Florian was of 17 years? Just how absurd can these fairy tale concepts get? And this has been bothering me for the longest time. Remember how the fairy godmother told Cinderella that all her magic spells would disappear at the strike of midnight? Well, didn't this magic spell also include the glass slippers? Then how the hell did the glass slipper which Snow White left on the staircase remain the same throughout the story? Like how? And I first watched Cinderella when I was 4. Now I'm 14. 14 minus 4, it took me 10 whole years to figure out literally the biggest plot hole in fairy tales ever. This shows that how much I was indulged in my dream world and how afraid I was to mess up this happy ending of Cinderella. So do you still think that you should make children watch fairy tales and give them a false hope about this difficult world of ours? I guess not. Definitely not. I will end my case here today. Thank you for listening to me.
Great show, Ishi. That was fantastic. And the next participant, please. I'm trying to hurry the proceedings, actually. Yeah.
The next participant from AD, we have Ishan Sharkar.
Yes, ma'am.
Ishan, your...
Hello. Yes, ma'am. Am I visible and audible as well?
Yes, both. Please begin.
Yes. So, ma'am, may I start?
Yes.
Good afternoon, respected teachers, honorable judges, and my dear friends. The house believes in the notion that fairy tales and films with a happy ending convey a false sense of reality to children. And today, I, Ishan Sarkar from class 8D, am speaking against the motion. Basically, we all know what a happy ending is, right? From the infant stage of our life till now, we have grown by listening to various stories and fairy tales from our grandparents, parents, and obviously you teachers. In many films and fairy tales, it teaches us an important lesson which helps us to work on the right path of our beautiful and precious life. It is not only that, fairy tale also helps us to grow in such a manner from our childhood so that we can learn various things around us and think in a positive way, not in a negative way. Coming over to my second point, we all know that children must need to watch fairy tales and read storybooks of films from a congested life full of studies, homeworks, assignments, etc., to just cheer them up and begin again with a new type of energy. So, if happy endings are always not a happy ending, then it is not interesting for us to catch it, and we will not understand the true meaning of a respected manner. Coming over to my next point, happy endings are always an important and a big part of our life. When we make something big in our life, it means to achieve a happy ending. And it's not only that, this has been taught to us from our childhood by our respected parents, beloved teachers, etc. since our childhood. Happy endings always teaches a lesson, whether it's big or small, to our entire society to always think in a positive mood and live in a strong equivalent bond. Like the films of Chak De India, Lagan, and some fairy tales of Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, etc. These stories and films have such a happy ending that they enlightens our spirit and teaches us to work harder to gain success. And today, with this, I end my speech over here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishan. In fact, and they lived happily ever after is considered the most popular line in literature throughout the ages. And we are all striving to live happily ever after. Okay, next participant, please.
Yes. Moving on to the next section, 80, I would like to call upon Trinanjan Chattopadhyay. Trinanjan, over to you.
Am I visible and audible?
Both. Please begin.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. The house believes in the notion that fairy tales or films with a happy ending convey a false sense of reality to children. And I, Trinanjan Chattopadhyay from class 8E, am going to speak for the motion. Yes, fairy tales are dangerous for children and young people. Psychologist Shashank Darkar Smith's research showed that girls and boys who hear fairy tales such as Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast show destructive relationships when they grow up to be adults. Cinderella is a fairy tale which almost every one of us have heard. It conveys a negative meaning about the step families. Born in a step family, it is not that if we are born in a step family, our success is so much grim. In current step families, our success rate is more as compared to the step families than as it was written in the Cinderella story. Now, fairy tales do not properly depict how the current society is actually run. Fairy tales are outdated, which means that the fairy tales that were written in the 1930s or the 1940s will definitely not match the current society. Nowadays, there are many things which are there in the current society, but which were not there previously. Nowadays, in the current society, many things have evolved. We have technology and we have many more things such as gadgets and all other things. But in that time, these things are not available to us. Now, children are imaginative. Imagination is something which every child has. With imagination, we can really evolve. With imagination, we can think of things which a normal person with a normal mind will not be able to think of. Now, in this imagination, every child's imagination is not the same. Every child cannot imagine in the same manner. And that is the reason it is very difficult for a 2-year-old child or a 5-year-old child to distinguish between a fairy tale and the realistic world. A fairy tale tells many things which are not possible in the realistic world. Yes, a fairy tale is called a fairy tale because it has imagination in it. Without imagination, it would have been called a short story. Lived happily ever after is a term which we get almost after every short story or a fairy tale which ends happily. Now, this line is more often than not a market ploy and nothing else. Lived happily ever after is not something which can really happen in the current society. In the current society, we cannot really live happily ever after. Struggles and difficulties are a part of our life, and our life cannot be smooth and plain. So, I conclude my speech by saying, teach your children the short stories and fairy tales which are not really fairy in nature or imaginative in nature. Teach them things which are realistic in nature and which do not have imaginations in it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Srinanjan. A realistic fairy tale? I'm not so sure. Can we have the next participant, please?
Yes. Moving on to the last participant from 8E, we have Arathri Ka Dasgupta. Over to you, Arathri.
Ma'am, am I clearly visible and audible?
Yes, both.
Okay. I was just seeing my childhood pictures when a picture of my mom reading me amazing fairy tale just popped out. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Adrija Bhattacharya of class 8E, I'm going to speak against the motion that is films and fairy tales happy ending convey wrong message to the children about the reality. So let's go just back to where I was. So I could still remember that I used to sleep so peacefully after listening to those stories. Until now, when I just recall all those memories, the amazing memories just come in front of my eyes. And fairy tales are a source of entertainment. And they are not always that real. It might not be 100% real about the reality, but bro, we are not that dumb that when we are grown up, we will just think that it was so real. Have you ever seen an elderly person or an elderly man just telling a fairy tale is 100% real? Oh, it's never gonna happen, right? Because people are not that dumb. And of course, even if fairy tale don't give 100% sense about the reality, the happy ending has lots of meanings behind it. For example, take the scene of a villain always defeats. A villain always gets defeated by a hero. And this shows us that as the hero has put good deeds into the world, he has won. And since the villain has hurt the people, he just got defeated. And you see, the good deeds he put into the world always have a way of coming back to him. So the happy ending shows that we should always follow the policy of honesty. And another very important thing is that the happy ending always does not mean that you're not going to have troubles in your later life. Life is about troubles. You're of course going to have troubles, but the happy ending shows the children that if once the heroes could defeat the villain, they will be able to defeat them again and again. So it really used to motivate me when I was a child. And I really need to tell this, that I can recall it right now, that when I was little, I used to watch the TV and I used to watch all those kind of fantasy stories. And when the hero used to fight with the villain that courageously, I used to feel, yeah, I am like that. And of course, what is fear? I don't know what is fear. You should always be courageous to face challenges. Even if you fail, it does not mean anything. Even if you fail, you just have the experience. And who knows, if you just take the challenge, you might even win like those in the stories. So you should always learn to take the challenges. And the thing that I would like to say right now might sound a little silly, but till this day, when I sometimes feel down, I just flip through the pages of my childhood storybook. And you know, the line happy ending still motivates me. So I would like to say that the happy ending does not always mean that it will give wrong sense of reality to the young children, but of course it's gonna give a lot of benefits and imaginations to the young minds of those little children. By this, I would like to end my speech. Thank you for listening patiently. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aratrika. Very vivacious indeed. And we have our next speaker.
Yes. Moving on to the last section, that is 8F, and it's always good to call your namesake, you know. So from 8F, I'm going to call Srishti Biswas. Over to you, Srishti.
Ma'am, am I both audible and visible?
Yes, both.
Okay, ma'am. So may I start?
Of course.
Okay. Good afternoon, one and all. The house believes in the notion that fairy tales and films with happy endings convey a false sense of reality to children. And I, Srishti Biswas from class 8F, would like to go for the motion. Fairy tales are unable to affect a child's perception of reality. Fairy tales are the stories that make the children think away from the reality of the world. They may develop expectations that are not based on reality, but slowly, when they grow up, they begin to understand that life is not just about living in a castle, having fairy godmothers, marrying a beautiful woman, or fighting with evil creatures. They understand that to get their position in the society, they need to study and work hard. Impractical films and fairy tales usually set irrational expectations of life, which could induce disappointment in children for foreseeable future. Cinderella, The Little Mermaid, and Sleeping Beauty, all of them culminate in a grand celebration of matrimony in the end. But marriage is not everything, right? Children are the pillars of the society, so they should be read and taught about practical aspects of life. Like, no wooden puppet in the world could possibly gain life and suddenly become a boy in reality, right? And who can have such a vast bunch of hair like Rapunzel did? And obviously, no wolf in the world can speak like in Little Red Riding Hood. In the stories and films, women are passive young ladies who can only be saved by men, especially by princes. We know that this does not happen in reality. So children can end up in having medieval thoughts about men and women and that male are always stronger than female. Unrealistic ideas of love, outdated sense of reality, extreme misunderstanding of good versus evil are some negative impacts of impractical films and fairy tales on children. Significant problem with fairy tales and unrealistic films is that they are very shallow and deliver the message of how only good looking people can find love and happiness while unattractive people are evil and deserve miserable lives. Instead of fairy tales, if kids are read moral stories and realistic ones, they understand certain concepts like unity is strength, slow and steady wins the race, lying breaks trust, and failure is the pillar to success. And instead of watching those unrealistic films, children can learn about the great personalities who made their position by one and only one motto: working hard. So, fairy tales and films with happy ending absolutely convey a false sense of reality to children. This was all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sriyoshi. I felt your speech was absolutely packed with content, and that's wonderful, actually. We are now down to our last participant.
Yes, the last participant from 8F, we have Mehak Khandelwal. Mehak, are you ready?
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, both.
Okay, may I start?
Yes.
Can you all imagine your childhood without Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast, and all those other characters with whom we grew up? Because I cannot. Just imagine a plain, colorless childhood spent by reading textbooks or novels which depict the harsh reality of the world. Do you think that the children who barely know anything about the world will enjoy it? Warm greetings of the day to my honorable judges, my worthy opponents, and all my screen viewers. The House believes in the motion that fairy tales and films with a happy ending convey a false sense of reality to the children, and I, Mehak Khandelwal of Class 8F, would like to go against the motion. Fairy tales and films are not always about happy endings, though happy endings are one of the most important part of the stories, but they also portray real moral values to the characters. These stories enhances their creative thinking. Happy endings might bring a child to a fantasy land, but the moral of these stories remain in the heart and mind of the children even when they grow up. These stories help the children to have a positive outlook in their life amidst all difficult situations. Just like in Cinderella, didn't Cinderella always had a positive outlook of her life, and she was always positive, even though she was being bullied by stepmother and stepsisters? Don't you all think that being positive is important in our real world? Children learn to have faith in themselves. They'll know that if they are right, they'll always have a positive and happy ending. Don't you think that this is very needed and important in the real world? Fairy tales and films teaches the children to love and respect and be kind to everybody. Just like in Snow White, wasn't she kind to the animals even though she was lost all alone in the forest? The world nowadays can be seen as a very frightening place, and where children can even go under extreme pressure and anxiety. Don't you all think that this is important for them to be made aware that bad things can happen to anyone, and that they should be prepared, and that they should be prepared to face all the challenges in their life and believe in themselves that they'll succeed in their life even though even after going through hardships, just like all their fairy tale friends. Albert Einstein once said, if you want to make your children intelligent, read them fairy tales. And if you want to make them more intelligent, read them more fairy tales. I would like to conclude here. Thank you all for listening patiently to me.
Thank you so much, Mehak. I really wouldn't like to be in the judge's shoes. After hearing class 8, I would say that, judging is going to be so difficult.
Very difficult.
Because they were all excellent. They were all excellent. They're fantastic, actually.
It was indeed basically a battle of wits and words.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now that we've come to the end of class 8, I would request Dr. Anshuman Mukhopadhyay to share his thoughts and opinions. Dr. Mukhopadhyay, are you there? Yes.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm visible, audible?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Very good afternoon, all of you, and thank you very much for having me on board. It was immensely pleasurable for all of us, I guess, and the last section of the competition was really tough for the judges, because I just forwarded, or rather shared, the score sheet, and obviously it shows that how confused I was actually. But it's a wonderful experience, to be precise, and my young friends, you are all such good speakers. Actually, we all belong to this particular field, where we are all engaged in some sort of public speaking, because we are teachers. We are there to teach you, convince you, and even often trying to cast a kind of a spell over you so that you listen to all of us. And when you do that successfully, now it's our time to get completely mesmerized by your speeches. And I also have the privilege of listening to all the competitors of all the competitions, that is of 3 different classes, and speak at the end of it. And one thing I have seen, I have noticed, and I feel that as you grow up, you will start, interpreting the picture that you were given for composing the story or composing the tale, perhaps a little differently. And that one line that you were given to frame a story in a little different way also, that is, you will frame a different story when you grow up. And of course, the students of class 8, my God, they were also good. But at the same time, I can say that when you grow up, perhaps you will also change your positions. Some of you who spoke in favor of the motion would eventually start believing otherwise, and some of you who spoke against the motion will start believing in the power of fairy tales, or would be convinced that no, it does harm than more than doing something good for you. And to conclude, rather, I would also like to suggest that, at the very beginning, when I was there present and the program just began, and your principal was addressing you all, she not only praised your confidence, but she added one more very interesting word. And if the leader thinks that way, that is, she's looking forward to have successful students, successful men and women in life, as well as happy men and women in life as you people grow up. Happiness matters a great deal. And if your leader thinks so, I'm sure that you are all going to be successful and happy in your life. Thank you. Thank you once again for having me on board. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mukhopadhyay. Wonderful to hear from you. And now that we've come to the end of the event and all our esteemed judges have spoken, Mr. Gaspar Chaudhary on behalf of class 6, and then Ms. Ghosh for class 7, and now Dr. Mukhopadhyay for class 8. I would now like to request the president, Mrs. Janet Gaspar Chaudhary, to share her thoughts and to say a few words on this occasion.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roy. So, to all the students here of class 6, 7, and 8. I'm privileged that I have to speak to 3 classes. The judges spoke to 1 each. But yes, the first thing that I would like to do is to tell all of you that I'm not as adept and confident to speak on this online platform like all of you are. So if you can all help me by turning on your cameras so that I can see all of you, that will be really helpful. Yes, so I can see a few of you. I would like to see some more. Can I see Raj Lakshmi? Yes. Some more students? Yes, now I can see Anushka. Good. Now I can see you. This makes me feel that I'm back in the school, because I miss seeing all of your lovely faces in the school campus. And all of you who are in class 8, you would have done anyone in class 8? Sorry, my connection seems to be a little weak. So I actually asked if anyone who's in class 8, when you were in class 6, did you participate and on the stage in the school? Me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Ma'am, I also did.
Okay. So you all were on stage in the campus, and you remember there was an audience, and you spoke to an audience, and we were all sitting there and listening to you. It was so nice to see you face to face. And you must have also been very happy that you had such a big audience in front of you. But today, when you spoke on this online platform, you were looking at nobody. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
All of you are nodding. And you know, it is very, very difficult to do that. When you don't know who is listening to you, when you don't know who is looking at you, in communication and public speaking, the reaction of the audience is very important. And if you can't see the audience, you don't know whether you're speaking well or whether you're not speaking well, or whether things are going the way it has to. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Is not ahead away. Srishti, congratulations. Connect bad.
I believe ma'am is facing some network problem.
Students, can you see me now? Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, loud and clear.
Okay. Sorry, I had to come here. I'm masquerading as one of your judges, but my network connection was very poor. So what I wanted to share with you students is that
what you have done today, the ability to speak online, extempore, on a topic, in a competition, without being able to see anybody, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of confidence. And all of you have done it brilliantly. Each one of you spoke so well. Yes, the class 8s were outstanding because you have been practicing this for the last 3 years. But the class 6s were not far behind. You all were fabulous. Every one of you. So don't worry if you don't get a first or a second or a third prize. The fact that you were able to do something where even adults cannot do with so much of confidence. And I asked you to put on your camera so that I can see you. You are really, really good. So a big hand and a clap for each one of you students. You can all clap for yourselves. Okay. So now, I will not be able to give you as much input on spoken English as the judges have already done. So that I have left for them. But I would like to share one more thing with you. And that is, today, there has been a very interesting publishing in the Times of India newspaper. I don't know whether you students have been able to see it. Has anyone seen it? Can somebody tell me? Anyone?
Ma'am, can you repeat?
Has anyone seen today's papers? No? Okay. I'm sure all of you were very nervous and you were preparing for your competition today. But now let me give you the good news. Times of India is a newspaper that conducts an annual school survey. And the annual school survey that they have done for the year 2021 in North 24 Parganas, you know which school has ranked number 1?
Ma'am, our school.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
St. Augustine Day School has ranked
First.
Good.
Number 1.
And school ranking number 1 cannot happen if you all students are not part of it. And that ranking has happened because of you. Some of you, I know, your parents are next to you. Am I right? Anyone whose parents are next to you? Kajal, you're nodding. So your parents are standing next to you somewhere? Okay. So anyone whose mother or father or anyone is standing next to you, they can also come in and they can join and they can listen, because it is also because of the parents that our school has ranked number 1. So we are number 1 in North 24 Parganas, and we are the top 10 school in all of West Bengal. And this is so proud because it is because of students like you who participate in so many activities that the school offers you. And you all do so well that the school is getting to greater heights day by day. So all of you, I encourage you to take part in all the activities that the school offers, whether it is English, whether it is drama, whether it is sport, whether it is MUN as you grow up, all the opportunities that you have, please take them. Because from the school, we want you to be the best all-rounder ever. And one of the things that will clearly make a difference is spoken English. You can be very good in various things, but if you're not able to communicate it, or if you're not able to convince or influence someone, you will not be successful. So the ability to speak in English the way all of you did is a differentiating characteristic. So congratulations to all you students, all the parents,
Children, and congratulations to everyone. Good luck and bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your words of encouragement and for reminding every student here that they should be proud to be an Augustinian. And now we come to the most awaited part of the event, the results. We are going to start with class 6, then 7, and then 8. In class 6, the second runner-up is Mandritta Bhattacharya. The first runner-up is Goiri Ghosh. And the winner is Noirhit Basu. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we're now down to class 7. Second runner-up, Adrija Bhattacharya. First runner-up, Vaibhavi Mojumdar. And the winner, Srishti Chakraborty.
Thank you, sir.
For the slides to catch up. We're now down to class 8. At second runner-up, we have Oishi Sengupta. The first runner-up, we have 2 names, joint winners in the first runner-up, and we've decided not to go for a tiebreaker round out here due to time constraints, and because both of them were deserving. The first person is Doibi Singha Roy, and the second person is Ishan Shorkar. Congratulations. You all are both joint first runner-up. And then we have the winner, Srishti Biswas. Congratulations, everybody. But I'd like to remind all other participants, you were magnificent. And don't worry, the way you're speaking today, by the time you reach the end of school, you will all be accomplished speakers. You will be confident men and women stepping out to conquer the new world. And now I'd like to call upon our headmistress, Arathri ma'am, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. First of all, good afternoon to one and all present here. Before I speak, I am suffering from a complex, in front of all these lovely, great speakers, I think I am not so prompt and so confident. First of all, I'll be congratulating my young contestants. You are very fantastic as speakers, and you have mesmerized us with all your confidence, poise, and body language. It was a very tough fight, and you all are the winners for the day. All of you deserve a big round of applause. Keep doing well and make us all proud of you. I take this opportunity to thank all our esteemed judges, Mr. Nathan, Mrs. Orpa Ghosh, and Dr. Anshuman Mukhopadhyay, who have taken out time from their busy schedule to join us this afternoon and share their valuable inputs and expert comments on the event. I'm sure the experience was enjoyable for all of you. I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to our most respected President Ma'am, Mrs. Janet Gaspar Chaudhary, and our CEO Sir, Mr. Amitabh Chaudhary, for their constant guidance and support to us at every point of time. My thanks goes to all our governing body and managing committee members for being with us. My sincerest thanks to Mr. Arya Roy for all that he has done to prepare the students to become excellent and confident speakers. Thank you, sir, for being with us. My vote of thanks would be incomplete without extending my thanks to all our dearest parents, especially of the participants, without whose support and encouragement the students would not have made to this level. I thank our most respected principal ma'am, Mrs. J. Biswas, and our beloved and dearest vice principal ma'am, Mrs. Shweta Ray, as both are the pillars who balance and support us always. I thank all my coordinators and teachers for the incredible hard work that has gone behind this event in mentoring and guiding our students. I thank all others concerned, our IT team, our admin department, who came together and worked at the back end to make this event a grand success. With that, I come to the end of my vote of thanks. Thank you all once again, and over to you, Shreyashi ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. And as it is, correctly stated, like all good things must come to an end. With that, I would like to request everyone to join us for the school anthem.
February থেকে আগস্ট হয়ে গেল।
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for bearing with all the network glitches that we had today. But then, as I stated, all good things must come to an end. So with that, thank you once again for being a part of today's program. You may now log off.
And finally, a happy ending. Goodbye, everybody.
And stay safe.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you, teacher.